Hi everyone, how you going? So today I posted a video to the national page and on Twitter. Jody had problems with her rent again. So let me paint the picture here. Imagine getting up in the morning and you want to pay your rent. And you hop online and you go to transfer your money to pay your rent. And all of a sudden your housing has been reduced to zero limit again. No can do. Can't pay the rent. So in Jodie's case, she's been waiting for a letter, right, to come back to her from the DSS, Services Australia, centrelink, whichever one, because she was blocked from being able to call them from January until March the 16th. So therefore she was not allowed to call them, right? So she's been through this 4 times in the last 6 months. This must be driving her landlord nuts. Okay, so she's got copies of the paperwork. She's got so used to doing this that she's actually got extra copies of the paperwork needed, printed up, ready to go. So she goes into Impact, into the Indue shopfront. Well, it's no longer being done by the shopfront. It's Services Australia's issue. So she gets told, upload the documents to Centrelink and ring them. She goes, but I'm not allowed to ring them. And she explains why. And the lady goes, oh, well, you just have to upload it and wait. So I rang the minister's office, spoke to the staffer there, and they passed on Jodie's details to Minister Roberts' office. And then somebody from Services Australia rang Jodie, and they went through it and they approved it for her on the phone and said it would work. Okay, so she gets back online and tries to pay her rent. No, it's not been approved. No, can't pay her rent. So she gets back onto them again and they said, but it's only approved by Services Australia. You have to wait for Indue to process it. It's like, what? So now it's a longer-winded process. Instead of in the past, she could just go into the Impact store, hand over the paperwork signed. They could put it into the computer and pass it for Indue. Now it's got to go through, upload it to Centrelink, get the permission from Services Australia. They put it through to Indue and Indue's got to approve it. This took all day, right? And at one stage, right, she finally got through to Indue and they promptly turned around. It worked out. She went around the circle 3 times. Promptly worked out. They were saying, oh, but we have to put it back through Services Australia to get it approved. I was like, it's already approved from Services Australia. It's up to you guys at Indue to process it. So somewhere around about 10 to 5 this evening, I think it was, they finally processed it. How kind. There's one problem. How long is it going to take to get to her bank account now? Right? Because she's been waiting to pay her rent today, to her landlord today. All right? And if it doesn't go through tonight, and tomorrow's Good Friday, we've got the whole Easter break, it probably won't show up until Tuesday. So I asked her, how many days late does that make you in your rent? 4 days late in her rent. What a load of fucking around. And as Jodie says it, all she wants to do is be able to pay her rent like normal people. But they won't let her. She goes through this every few weeks. And she's not the only one. I've seen people comment where they're having to do this fortnightly or monthly or every 3 months. It depends on who they are. But for some reason, Indue and Services Australia are now separate. DSS is no longer involved. So you've got to go through Centrelink. You've got to get permission from Services Australia to do stuff. And then it's got to be approved by Indue. Slowing everything down completely. Making it worse than what it was before. Oddly enough, when I was talking to Anne Ruston's office, the staffer, she was trying to fob it off as a one-off. I said, no, this is the 4th time in 6 months for Jodie, right? And it's a regular event, right? And it's just pathetic. But because it causes people to be late on their rents, It puts black marks on their rental histories. Landlords and owners get upset. And I said, and I've dealt with quite a few people that have been in a position where, because of this constant being late with their rent, they get evicted in the end because they get enough breach notices issued to them that they get kicked out. And then they end up having to find another place, and they get in, and it all starts all over again with the rents falling for 2 days, 4 days, a week behind. And they just can't keep up. Right? This is just pathetic. But Jodie's not the only one. Just a lot of people out there are too scared to speak up and come out. Because we've seen with Jodie, when she speaks out and comes out, they hit her with a brick over her head straight away. I mean, the first time she stood up and showed the paperwork where she couldn't pay it, right? Because that YouTube video got something like over 18,000 views, and it drew the attention of media and all sorts, she was punished by the department. She's disabled, and all of a sudden they decided to revoke her job searching exemption and make her look for jobs that she can't do, putting her in the position of, if you don't look for jobs, if you apply for jobs you can't do, you're in breach. But if you apply for jobs and then you list the health reason, your health stuff on the application, that's paramount to sabotaging your application, so then you're in breach. And there's many times when Jodie can't work and she's bedridden because of her health. All right, it's just crazy. So with the coronavirus at the moment, Jodie did have a part-time job, only a few hours a week, doing like dialer driver, but no one's doing that at the moment. She's got no work coming in, which was her food money, because she was living on a $4 a day food budget, right? Because she's on the base rate of New Start. That will go up for a little time after April the 27th, which will make it a lot easier for her for a little while. But what's the point when Indue's stuffing up the money? Can't pay your rent. All she wants to do is pay her rent like normal people. All right? She is sick to death of having to go through all this bullshit of the last 3 times it's take the paperwork in and get them to do it. Right? This time it's take the paperwork in, get told no, upload it yourself, put it through to Centrelink, ring Services Australia, get approval from them, and then they bounce back to Indue, then Indue bounces back to Services Australia, then they bounce back to Indue. Meanwhile, they fucked it up all day long. And the stress, right, the anxiety that this was causing, because I've been on the phone with her all day, on and off, and the anxiety it was causing with making her wait and check. When's it going through? When's it going to be approved? When can I do the transfer? When can I do the transfer? This is rubbish. This is people's ability to pay rents, right? And it really does need to stop. God knows what's going on over the outback at the moment with First Nations people on these cards that are stuck in remote communities and they can't get near towns because of their lockdowns. You know what I mean? Are they even getting food? We don't know. We're not hearing from them. There's all silence up there. This is crazy. This is just crazy. So, yeah, Indue fail. Services Australia fail. What do you call it? It's just crap. And it does need to stop. They need to stop this card. Because all it's doing is making people so stressed out. Like Jodie said to me, she would have paid her rent on Wednesday if she had a normal account. She would have paid it a bit earlier. Would have helped out her landlord because he needed the money, right? He needed the money today. She lives on the same property as him, and he needed the money today. He was expecting his rent to come through today. You know what I mean? But no, it might not show up till Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever they bloody well processed it properly. You know what I mean? Or it might show up in her bank account at 8 o'clock tonight, and then she might be able to run down the street and pull it out in cash for him. Who knows? No idea. Too late anyway. You know what I mean? He needed that money today to do things today. But they don't care. It's not just about the tenant and ruining their credit histories and their rental histories. It buggers up the landlords as well. Yeah. But, it's harder on people that are in shared accommodation because most of those people need their cash to pay their room rentals and their share of utilities, right? And they can't be set up on Centrepay unless it's a boarding house type situation, and she's not in that situation. And a lot of private rentals won't do Centrepay either, right? But I can tell you now, if you're on the Cashless debit card and if your real estate takes Centrepay, use it. Set your rent up with Centrepay, for God's sakes, because then Indue have nothing to do with it. And you know your rent's going to be paid on its due time. It's going to be paid before your payment goes into the bank for you. It sets up and does it really well. I know, because I've used Centrepay for over 20 years and I've never had a problem with it. You know what I mean? But, yeah. This just sucks. And I'm just so frustrated for her. And we need to really keep the pressure up to stop this, because with everything the way it is at the moment, tap and go seems to be what people want. Some businesses don't even want to use cash. Some only want cash or tap and go, right? The card doesn't do tap and go, right? Some people wanted to be able to use their stimulus on goods that they could have bought on eBay cheaper. They weren't allowed to because eBay's banned. Or the general workaround is, just go and do everything on Afterpay and then pay the bill with Indue. That's what Indue staff tell people to do. Go and sign up for credit that you can pay off. That way you can buy whatever you like because you're signing up to pay for it on Afterpay and then have it paid off. That's not good advice either. You know what I mean? I would never tell anybody to take out credit, but that's what they do. And then they whinge when people take out the wrong credit or go to the wrong loan sharks or the wrong payday lenders. You can't win with this mob. They're just stuffing people's lives around for the hell of it, I think. You know? I know Jodie's not the only one out there. I know there's other people. But they don't come forward. They might make the odd comment here and there on our posts. You know, I've seen it where people have come up, this has been happening to me every fortnight for the last blah, 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 so many months or whatever, and it just doesn't stop. But not everybody engages with me to get their story out. And I wish they would, because the more people that get their stories out, the more chance of us getting this stopped when public can hear about more and more and more people being affected by this. Alright, the card needs to stop. Simple as that. It can't be good. It just can't keep doing this to people. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.